This has Devils fans in disbelief as one of the more important offseason acquisitions, and a player who is planned to be an explosive piece in the bottom six will have to wait. And from what we saw the first time around, Devils issues run deeper. Welcome in to Devils Digest. Glad that you guys are here today. So some more injury news. It never ends. Evgenii Dadonov is doubtful tomorrow, says Devils head coach Sheldon Keefe. He was injured last night, and when he came in this morning, it wasn't any better. He's currently being evaluated. Look, I think this play happened in the third period. Broadcast kind of mentioned it briefly. Dadonov seemed like he was fine when he got to the bench, but sounds like Dadonov won't be going tomorrow, potentially not in the game tomorrow. It wasn't at practice today either. So Dadonov, look, when Dadonov came in and the Devils signed him over the offseason, there was a plan for him. He was supposed to make the bottom six better. You know, the bottom six maybe needed a little bit extra work. We know Tom Fitzgerald last year came out and said, I was kind of asking myself, what is depth scoring? And Dadonov kind of was that player. I mean, this is a guy who scored 20 goals, been a 70-point player in this league. He was supposed to be, at this point in his career, that bottom six scorer, that bottom six depth scorer from Dadonov. That's what you wanted to see. And so far, unfortunately for Dadonov and Devils fans and the Devils in general, we've only seen 5 games so far. 5 games, no goals, no points. He's got 7 shots on net. He's playing 11:04. Look, when you add a new guy into the lineup, a guy who's, supposed to be a difference maker, getting 5 games in the first 20-something games is not a good recipe to start. Okay, getting a guy in who, needs to maybe learn the system, playing with new players, playing a different role in his career. Evgenii Dadonov kind of is one of the skilled top 6 player. When you're a skilled player, your top 6 probably works a little bit better for you. Bottom 6, a lot of players have to find a way, to stay in. Some players a little bit more physical, do a little bit, good for the room. Evgenii Dadonov has been more that, top 6 player, skilled player. But at this point in his career, he's more so in, that kind of bottom 6, depth scoring position. I mean, he did score 20 goals last year. So, I mean, this isn't someone who, you're putting in your bottom 6 and you're like, well, he's on his last legs. It's not a player you're going, well, you know what? If it works, it works. If it doesn't, No, this was by design. They definitely wanted Evgenii Dadonov. He scored 20 goals last season. He scored 70 in the league at some point. So when you're getting a player who, did score 20 goals and your bottom 6 needs extra scoring, you expect it to get better. And when he's not in the lineup, it definitely hurts. Now, bringing up, his career, he doesn't really get necessarily injured. I don't want to call him an injury-prone player. I mean, he did miss 29 games 2 years ago, but this is not a guy who, is injured every single season. It's not a guy who's missing multiple games, 10, 15 games every single year. So it's kind of out of the norm seeing Evgenii Dadonov, play game 1, go out, come back, 4 games later, he's out again. And that definitely hurts with what Tom Fitzgerald and the Devils were trying to do this season. Tom Fitzgerald has shown it during the offseason, the past 2 offseasons. He's really tried to acquire depth. 2 years ago, he went Stefan Nason. He took the 7th overall pick in Alexander Holtz, and he moves him off for Paul Cotter. So, when a GM is showing what he wants to do in the offseason, and then the past 2 years, I'd say, it's kind of probably not gone the way he wants it to. And this one, with Evgenii Dadonov going into the lineup, I mean, you can't necessarily plan for injury or plan for a player to get injured. You can plan for depth and have, guys on the backup. That can happen. But for a player to get injured and a player who really, hasn't shown a ton of injury in the past, it's definitely tougher to plan for. I mean, you're looking at the lineup, what the lineup was at practice today. Obviously, Dadonov not in the lineup right now. Lammikko jumps into that third line spot. I don't think he came into the year going at your third line and going, Lammikko is going to be in the lineup. I don't think that was kind of Tom Fitzgerald's thought. I mean, I can just kind of tell it wasn't because of the signings he made right before the season started. He kind of signed some players to a PTO. Glendening was on a PTO. Lammikko comes in. I mean, this was not something that he necessarily planned for. But he's shown the past 2 off seasons that the bottom 6 is important. The bottom 6, he wants to have depth. He wants certain players playing in his bottom 6. So when a GM shows his plan like that and shows, we need to be a little bit better in these scenarios if we want to be a better team this season. I mean, he said it, he's shown it in the offseason, and so far this is what the Devils have gotten from their bottom six. Look, this problem with Evgenii Dadonov in the lineup or not playing a ton to start the season, I mean, the numbers here just in general are not very good. I mean, Connor Brown comes back, you're kind of playing him all over the lineup. Cody Glass, 4 goals, but that fourth line has added 2 goals so far. And we know Stefan Nason was not brought over here to be a fourth line player. I think third line is a great spot for him, but fourth line was probably not the spot that Tom Fitzgerald envisioned when he signed him. Paul Cotter, 1 goal, 2 assists. Well, at the start of last year, it didn't look like he'd have 1 goal, 2 assists so far this season. Now, yeah, did he start the season a little bit hotter? Was he maybe not playing or maybe playing above what he usually produces? Sure. But 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points. I mean, that's not necessarily what you were looking for. I mean, he's got 22 shots on net, 1 goal. I mean, that shooting percentage, it's not great, not whatsoever. So when Tom Fitzgerald continuously, goes out, acquires assets into his bottom six, and he tries to make the bottom six look better and look cleaner and get more goals. Well, the problem that I have with it, that Tom Fitzgerald going out and, saying, what is bottom six? We're not getting enough depth scoring. Right now, the numbers in the bottom six don't look necessarily well. I mean, you went into the offseason, you kind of started it, and it's not crazy that it looks this way. I mean, you go into the offseason starts, you could have signed Cody Glass. All of a sudden, first day of the offseason, after, you guys couldn't come to a deal, you come basically to the same exact number, $2.5 million, third line center. And now Cody Glass has definitely surprised this season, has been good, but he's been more of a fourth line center throughout his career. And this year, yes, I know the goal scoring is there. And I know he's looked good. And I know he came off injuries and he still found a way to look good. But you've seen what history has shown. He's been more so a fourth line center in his career. And when things, maybe don't go the right way, or this, bottom six is struggling to score like it is right now, and maybe Cody Glass's numbers kind of start to fall back down a little bit if they do. Hopefully they don't. But if they do, you kind of look at Tom Fitzgerald and go, well, what history has shown us? Cody Glass was a fourth line center. What did you do at fourth line center? If you're going to go with more of a fourth line center as your third line, you signed Luke Glendening to a PTO, who's yet to score yet this year. So you look at what Tom Fitzgerald did. He kind of completely neglected his centers, his bottom six centers. He didn't go out and go, okay, you know what? We had a problem at bottom six center last season. Let's go figure it out. Let's at least, be where, other teams are. At least in the average of where other teams are. But no, he's not putting a ton of money, and I don't think he should put a ton of money in your bottom six, but I think he should have guys who, have been third line centers in the past, fourth line center, maybe not on a PTO or maybe not on a PTO, when somebody who's kind of, trying to find a position to stay in the league, not a ton of upside with Luke Glendening. So when I look at what Tom Fitzgerald has done so far in the bottom six, and, you see numbers like this, you kind of almost saw it coming. You kind of almost saw it coming when, you're going to go a little bit cheaper at center. Bottom six struggled to score last season. They're not getting the same goal scoring support. Injuries have happened. When you start to see numbers the way he kind of designed this bottom six, even though in the offseason he shows he wants to get bottom six players, well, they're not getting enough scoring. And Evgenii Dadonov, who I did like that signing, and that one I will defend completely, because I think Evgenii Dadonov definitely can fit this team and be a good bottom six player. So far, the bottom six has not produced. And you can go to the injuries. You can go to the fact that players maybe not playing to how they should be. And, everything will fix its way out. I mean, I would just go and say, you didn't go get your centers. You knew you had a bottom six center problem last year. And you went into it this year with the exact same thing. And if anything, Cody Glass has arguably been their best bottom six player. So your best bottom six player was maybe your most questionable piece going into this season. So if that doesn't work out or doesn't continue to work out, you kind of put yourself into an even worse position than maybe you thought you were coming into this year. And I have no problems with Cody Glass. I just think it's probably better to be as a fourth line center. I think he's a great fourth line center. I think he's been fantastic this year. I think he's handled the position of third line center pretty well. I'm just trying to think ahead. And from what I've seen in the past, he's been more so a fourth line center. So when I've seen the past, when I've seen Cody Glass do in the past, I kind of feel more comfortable with him as a fourth line center. And right now, I mean, you're going third line center, Cody Glass, fourth line center, Luke Glendening. You're having injuries. You're having goal scoring problems. You're trying to figure out this lineup. I mean, that's where I go with that. Evgenii Dadonov, it's a shame he's out again because I do think he's a good piece. He was a good piece that the Devils added, and they could use his goal scoring support right now, especially in that bottom six. They got top six scoring last night. I mean, last night they did come to work. They did play well. But yeah, I mean, Evgenii Dadonov injured again. Hopefully he's back soon. We'll see. He wasn't at practice, obviously, but doubtful for tomorrow's game. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Evgenii Dadonov out again. Who's the Devils kind of roll with in the lineup? Do you make lineup changes? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you guys all really soon.